Okay, so there's this thing that keeps happening throughout history, over and over again, and most people don't see it because they're too busy trying to survive to even notice the pattern. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Rich people keep getting richer, and it's not because they're smarter, it's not because they work harder, it's literally because they're already rich. And there's a system, an actual mechanism, that makes wealth compound for people who already have it, while everyone else just stays stuck. So I'm gonna break down why this happens, show you historical examples of how this played out, and then show you what you can actually do about it. Because once you understand the game, you can at least try to play it better. Okay, so the first reason rich people get richer is something called the compound effect, and it's brutal. So imagine you have $100,000. You invest it. It makes 10% return. That's $10,000. You now have $110,000. Next year, you make 10% on that. That's $11,000. Year 3, $11,100. Your money is making money, and then that money makes money, exponentially. Now imagine a poor person. They have $0 to invest. They're working a job, making money. But as soon as they make money, they need to spend it on rent, food, bills. They never have a pile of capital to let sit and compound. So the rich person's money is working for them, growing exponentially, while the poor person is trading their time for money. 1 hour of work equals 1 hour of money. That's it. Over time, this gap gets absolutely insane. Someone with 100 grand investing at 10%? In 30 years, that turns into $1.7 million without them doing anything, just compound interest. A poor person working, in 30 years, they might have saved $200,000, if they're lucky, if they don't spend it. So the gap between the $100,000 invested and the $200,000 saved is actually growing in favor of the invested money because of compound returns. Rich people's wealth is working, poor people are working. That's the first mechanism. The second reason is what I call asymmetric access. Rich people have access to investments that poor people don't. A poor person can maybe buy stocks. Okay, that's fine. But a rich person, they can buy commercial real estate. They can get private equity deals. They can start businesses. They can buy distressed properties and flip them. They have access to hedge funds. They have access to venture capital deals where you put in $100,000 and it becomes $1 million. These opportunities don't exist for regular people. They're closed off. Like private equity deals, you usually need to be accredited, which means you need to have a certain net worth or income. If you don't have money, you can't even access these investments. So rich people have access to higher return investments. Poor people have access to lower return investments, maybe 5 to 10% if they're in the market. Rich people's money in private equity or venture deals could be 30, 40, 50% returns if it works out. Same time frame. One person makes 5 to 10%, another makes 30 to 50%. Over years, that gap explodes. Third reason, rich people can borrow money at better rates and with less friction. If a poor person needs money, they can maybe get a payday loan. 25% interest rate. That's brutal. Or they can get a credit card. 18% interest. A rich person? They can call their bank, get a line of credit at 2, 3, 4%. They can buy real estate with a mortgage at 3 to 4%. Use that property to borrow against it for other investments. It's like they have a cheat code. They can leverage their wealth, borrow more money, make bigger investments, multiply their returns. A rich person with $1 million can borrow $5 million on top of that to make bigger plays. They're now working with $6 million in capital. A poor person can borrow maybe $5,000 if they're lucky, and they have to pay 18% interest on it. So not only are rich people starting with more money, they can also borrow more, at better rates, to make bigger investments. This is why some people can build fortunes and others stay stuck. Fourth reason, rich people have time freedom. When you're poor, you work. You have to. You need the money to survive. You don't have time to think about investments. You don't have time to learn about business. You don't have energy to build a side project. You work, you go home, you sleep, you repeat. Rich people, they have the freedom to say no to things, to wait for the right opportunity, to spend a year building something without worrying about paying rent. They can take risks because they have a safety net. They can start a business that might fail. If it fails, they still have their capital. They can try again. A poor person takes that same risk. If the business fails, they're homeless, so they don't take the risk. Time freedom lets rich people compound opportunities. They can spend time learning, building skills, making connections, making moves. Poor people are just trying to survive. And the fifth reason is network and information. Rich people hang out with other rich people, at exclusive clubs, at private events, at country clubs. They overhear conversations about investment opportunities, about deals that are happening, about which sector's about to boom. Information travels through their network fast. A poor person? They're getting information from YouTube, from Reddit, publicly available info that everyone's already priced in. So rich people are ahead on information. Plus they have actual connections. They can call someone and say, hey, I want to invest in this. And that person knows them and trusts them and lets them in on deals. A poor person, they have no connections. Everything is formal. Everything is hard. Rich people's network is making them money, sharing deals, sharing information, opening doors. So that's it. That's why rich people get richer. It's not that they're smarter. It's that they have compound growth, better access, borrowing power, time freedom, and networks all working in their favor. It's a system designed to make wealth beget wealth. So what do you actually do? Start small. Start now. Get that first pile of capital. Even if it's 5,000, 10,000, start investing it. Because once you have capital working for you, even a little bit, you're in the game. Join better networks, learn, connect with people who are further ahead, read, invest in education, take calculated risks. You don't need much to start. You just need to start. And most importantly, don't wait until you're rich to think like a rich person. Subscribe and let's figure this out together.